Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some insane battles in the Sunshine Cup featuring an unexpected spicy core breaker, Decidueye. Decidueye is a grass and ghost type Pokemon with the moveset of Razor Leaf, Energy Ball, and Brave Bird, and what makes Decidueye powerful in this meta is it absolutely destroys Vigoroth. Vigoroth is on almost every single team, and if your opponent safe switches it, you can just Razor Leaf down with Decidueye and leave with a Brave Bird loaded. I tested it out on stream and went positive in every set. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Decidueye in action in the Sunshine Cup. Hopping to the first match, picking up a great lead, Rock Throw Magcargo into Victini. My opponent safe switches into Double, and we have a very good response available in Tropius. Not only is Tropius incredibly bulky, but the fact that it resists counter means that it has an extremely comfortable matchup versus the Double. Double can fire off Body Slam after Body Slam, but honestly, Tropius is not bothered by it whatsoever. Tropius will be hit with Body Slam number 2. I'm going to tank this, that's perfectly fine by me. Looking to farm up with the Tropius, and unfortunately I do lose CMP to the Double. This Body Slam is going to get me into the red, but now I can just undercharge the Leaf Blade and get a bit of extra farm, so I can hopefully make it to a move versus the Victini. I am able to get the farm down, in comes the Victini, Tropius farming up, not able to make it to the move as Victini does get the farm down, but this is only enough for a Psychic. This cannot be a Focus Blast, so I'm gonna no shield in the bag. They have Vigoroth, and in comes Decidueye, and there's just nothing Vigoroth can do. The Body Slams are double resisted, the counters are double resisted. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We see a terrible lead in the next match, Magcargo into Unova Stunfisk. I'm going to save switch into Tropius. Opponent stays in this matchup and then sends in a Blaziken. It looks like they are absolutely core broken by the Tropius save switch. This means they don't have an Ice type or a Flyer lurking in the back, so my Decidueye should be in a very good spot. I'm going to commit the shield, opponent goes for the Blaze Kick, farming up with the Tropius, and I'm going to fire off the Leaf Blade. This will either force the second shield or win switch advantage, and my opponent lets it go. We'll have to see what they have in the back. Odds are they're probably not sending in the Ufisk, and it's a Vigoroth in the back. So it turns out I didn't even need switch advantage. Decidueye is going to close this game. I land the Leaf Blade, in comes Decidueye, and what's Vigoroth going to do here? Double resisted Body Slam, single resisted Bulldoze, nothing is going to be doing any damage here. In comes the Stunfisk, but everything they throw is going to be resisted as well. Decidueye farming up, able to make it to the Energy Ball, that's gonna KO. Back in comes the Vigoroth, and Decidueye farms down. Moving into the next match, we see a very positive lead, Rock Throw Magcargo into Rufflet. Opponent is going to save switch into a Shadow Piloswine, and in comes Decidueye. Decidueye will have to shield once as Avalanche would easily KO, but I can farm down and leave with a nice energy head start to make it to a Brave Bird versus the Rufflet. Opponent is going to be waiting at switch timer and sending back in the Rufflet. Rufflet farming up, Decidueye makes it to the Brave Bird, and they need to shield this or this will be lethal. Brave Bird KOs the Rufflet in the back. Opponent has Double getting torn to shreds by Razor Leaf. With my debuff defense, I will get farmed down, but I can just send in the Tropius, and Tropius, even down a shield, can comfortably win this game. They go for the Body Slam, farming up with the Tropius, and we get the Body Slam catch onto Magcargo, where it is going to be resisted. And the rock throws from Magcargo are chipping away at Double's remaining HP, and unfortunately for Double, there's just not really anything it can do here. Double will be able to make it to one final charge move, but again, Magcargo does not have to respect it. Magcargo actually will be hit with one final charge move here from the Double on 1 HP. That will be lethal, but Tropius takes the win. We see a great lead again in the next match, Magcargo into Noctowl. Oh no, tell me there's not a Vigoroth in the back, and there is. Opponents loving the Noctowl lead, Vigoroth save switch, and Decidueye is absolutely feasting. Body Slam just does nothing. There is no shielding situation where Decidueye loses to Vigoroth. Even if Decidueye has 0 shields and Vigoroth has 2, from full health, Decidueye can just fully farm down. My opponent is going to send in the Noctowl, Decidueye going for the Brave Bird. Brave Bird able to land big damage onto the Noctowl. Decidueye gets farmed down. I'm going to send in Magcargo. Magcargo not quite able to farm down before Noctowl is going to make it to the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball connects in the back. It's a Whiscash, and this is actually quite scary as Whiscash can one-shot with a Blizzard. I'm farming up with Tropius. They have enough for the Blizzard. I commit the shield, and I get Mud Bomb baited. That is absolutely awful. I'm firing off the Leaf Blade. This will be grabbing a shield from my opponent, and this game is going to come down to a bait call. I either have to no-shield the Mud Bomb or shield the Blizzard. I call a bait. It's the Blizzard, and unfortunately, that is game over. We see a very tough lead in the next match. Magcargo into Swampert. I save switch into Tropius, and my opponent is going to respond with a Nidoqueen. Definitely good to bait out the poison type so that way Decidueye does not have to face it in the end game, but still, things are not looking great to start with. My opponent is going to be firing off this Poison Fang. Poison Fang is going to be no-shielded, and I will be able to hang on and make it to the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade landing would allow me to take switch. My opponent does not want to allow that, so they will commit a shield. So at the very least, I was able to grab shield advantage from my opponent, and now I send in Magcargo. Magcargo not going to get the farm down. They will make the Earth Power. I'm just going to let this through. It will one-shot. I'm saving 2 shields for Decidueye. Decidueye gets the farm down. What do they have in the back? It's a Diggersby opponent running triple ground, and once we bait out the Nidoqueen, there is nothing to stop the wrath of Decidueye. Decidueye can tank 1 Fire Punch, and Decidueye will have to shield the next, but from here, this Swampert is about to get absolutely banished by Decidueye. In comes the Swampert, Razor Leafs tearing it apart, and Decidueye gets the win. We see another tough lead in the next match, Magcargo into Vigoroth. I'm going to save switch into Tropius as I always do, and my opponent is going to respond with a Noctowl. Noctowl, not a good Pokemon for Tropius to see whatsoever, but the important thing is I'm baiting it out to hopefully let Decidueye sweep in the back. I'm going to be firing off the Aerial Ace here. Both Aerial Ace and Leaf Blade, neither one is going to be doing a lot of damage, but the main thing is I'm just looking for Chip to hopefully put it into a range where I can tank 1 move on Magcargo and farm down. My opponent is going to get the farm down, and now I'm going to be sending back in Magcargo and looking to just tank the move and fully farm down. Magcargo looking for the farm down. I will have to tank a Shadow Ball, but that's perfectly fine. Shadow Ball is going to connect. Opponent safe switches into Unova Stunfisk, and now that we baited out the Noctowl, Decidueye is here to absolutely destroy. They go for the discharge. I'm realizing that honestly, a move from Ufisk is going to do more than a Body Slam from Vigoroth, so I will commit the shield as my opponent goes for the Mud Bomb. Feels strange to be shielding a resisted move, but when it comes down to it, that is the move that's going to do the most damage here. And now my opponent is going to send in Vigoroth. Decidueye farming up and will be hit with the Body Slam. Body Slam not going to be enough to KO here, so I will be able to tank that. I'm not throwing a charge move. I'm just going for the fast move beatdown. Magcargo trying to rock throw down. Vigoroth does have enough for the Bulldoze, so I will commit the shield. It's just the Body Slam. Vigoroth makes another Body Slam. This is going to be close. Body Slam is resisted. Can Magcargo survive? Yes, it can. And we clutch an incredibly close win. We see a bit of a core breaker on the lead in the next match, Magcargo into Trevenant. Now Trevenant, since I'm not running Incinerate, is a bit of a problem for this team. I'm going to farm up with Magcargo, switch into Tropius, hoping to catch a move, but unfortunately my opponent holds on to their energy, and I'm going to be met with a Noctowl. Noctowl is going to fire off a Sky Attack into the Tropius. Tropius is going to return fire with the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace does hit for neutral, but it's just such a terrible move that Noctowl is able to shake off that damage no problem. Here, looks like there is a little bit of lag. I am able to make it to another Aerial Ace, which is going to get them low, but unfortunately not going to be enough to flip switch, as the Noctowl is going to be able to farm down. And now I can send in Magcargo. I will have to tank a move, but I am going to get the farm down here. And as you're going to see, I'm about to make a game-losing decision. Back in comes Trevenant. What I should do is double shield, go for the Rock Throw farm down, and trust that it's Vigoroth in the back, but instead, I save shields for Decidueye. And this is going to prove to be a game-losing decision because Shadow Claw just does so much to Decidueye here. So Decidueye is going to have to double shield, and as you're going to see, what do they have in the back? They have Vigoroth, but I don't have enough HP to win the game, and I resign the match. We see another tough lead in the next match, Macargo into Shadow Swampert. As before, immediate save switch into Tropius, and let's see what they have. Opponent sends in Hisuian Electrode, and this is not a good response to Tropius, as I have to go down shields here, but I can very comfortably take switch advantage, and as long as I have switch, I should just have this game won. My opponent has farmed up a ton of energy. I do tank one wild charge, but a second one will be lethal. So I'm going to tank one, and then I will shield and look for the farm down. I should be able to farm down before they make it to a third wild charge here. Tropius looking for the farm down, but 1 HP. Hisuian Electrode makes a third wild charge, and I'm forced to go down both shields. But the good news is I leave with a ton of energy, and it turns out I didn't even need switch advantage, as they have a Vigoroth in the back, and they're getting swept by Decidueye. Decidueye has no shields. They switch in a Shadow Swampert trainer that will not save you. Decidueye absolutely obliterating the end game here. Vigoroth goes for the body slam, and the opponent concedes the match. We see yet another bad lead in the next match, Macargo going up against Shadow Donphan. Bad lead, we know what to do. Immediate save switch into Tropius. Donphan farming up a bunch of energy, and in comes Noctowl. So my opponent did bank a bunch of energy for later, so we'll have to keep that in mind. But the good news is I was able to bait out the Noctowl with the Tropius save switch. Tropius farming up, able to make it to Aerial Ace number 2. This is of course not going to be threatening a shield, as Noctowl able to absorb that damage no problem. But the good news is I've now put it into range where I can rock throw down with Macargo. My opponent is able to get the wing attack down. I'm going to be waiting my clock here and then sending in Macargo, and I'm looking for the full farm down here. I just need to get rid of the Noctowl. Noctowl is going to fire off the Shadow Ball. That connects. They pivot into the Shadow Donphan, and I send in Decidueye. In case they made it to like a play rough, I will commit the shield, but they go for a body slam, and I have incredible regrets over shielding a double resisted move. They go for body slam number 2. That does absolutely nothing. Decidueye gets the farm down. In comes Noctowl. Noctowl gets Razor Leaf down as well. In the back, they have Vigoroth, and this game looks very winnable. Decidueye will be able to apply a ton of pressure with the Razor Leafs, and I grab a shield with the Energy Ball. This will all come down to, do they bulldoze or do they body slam here? I let it go. It's the bulldoze, and that is a game-losing decision. All I had to do was shield there. Even if it was a body slam, I could have done enough damage that I could have rock thrown down in the end game. Unfortunately, another winnable game, but a misplay cost the victory. Hopping to the final match, leading into yet another bad lead, Macargo into Obstagoon. Obstagoon farms up energy and then switches a Vigoroth into Tropius, so they are clearly triple weak to Tropius, and I can very comfortably take switch here. The fact that they're this weak to Tropius makes me think that it could be a double in the back, and they're running just triple pseudo fighters. If that's the case, then unfortunately my Macargo does not have a lot of play in this endgame. I'm going to be firing off the Leaf Blade. That's going to KO the Vigoroth. My opponent concedes switch advantage, and they're going to bring back in the Obstagoon. Obstagoon will be met with a Leaf Blade from the Tropius. This will chunk, so my opponent is going to commit the shield. They have a ton of energy, and they're finally starting to use it here. They're going to fire off the Night Slash into the Tropius. Tropius farming up, and my opponent is going to throw their energy again. Night Slash will KO, and here I make a read. I'm making a read that it's double in the back, and if that's the case, then my Macargo has absolutely no play. My opponent fires off the cross chop, farming up here with Macargo. Macargo makes it to the overheat as my opponent is looking to farm down. This will grab the shield, then I send in Decidueye. Decidueye going for the farm down. Opponent did not know what to do when they saw Decidueye, and in the back, they have double. This is not enough for a payback, meaning odds are they are running Body Slam Wild Charge, which means, like a Vigoroth, they are also walled by Decidueye. They're going for Body Slam number 2. That's just doing absolutely nothing. Decidueye makes it to the Brave Bird. Big damage onto the double, and that is a good game. All in all, I had an insane amount of fun running Decidueye on stream. Decidueye, I initially picked as more just like a fun spice pick that I could try on stream, not really expecting too much, and I was blown away by how well it did. So many Vigoroth safe switches, and what I love about Decidueye compared to using something like Trevenant is Decidueye, you can fully farm down a Vigoroth, you don't have to shield a thing, and then you can leave with a Brave Bird loaded, so your energy can actually threaten anything flying like a Noctowl that gets brought in. So in that regard, I actually think I might like Decidueye as a sweeper a bit better than Trevenant in this meta, which is pretty cool to see, as Decidueye hasn't really seen much play up till now. Having Razor Leaf and Nuke charge moves isn't the best setup ever, but hey, in this meta, Decidueye can shine, and Decidueye can absolutely destroy any Vigoroth safe switch that you see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.